My parents lied that Grandma died so I'd miss her funeral, but she was alive and living with them. I found out my grandma died through a text. Not a call, not a visit. Just a short message from my mom that said, "Grandma passed. Funeral is next Thursday. Don't bother coming if you'll cause drama." That was it. No time. No place. Just a deadline and a threat. I reread it 3 times, like maybe it would say something different the next time. It didn't. I tried calling. No answer. I tried my dad. Straight to voicemail. I called my brother. Nothing. I sent a text. "Is this real?" 10 minutes later he replied, "Let it go. It's not about you." That's when I knew this wasn't about death. This was about me. I wasn't close to my parents anymore. Not really. They tolerated me at holidays. Sometimes. Other times I didn't get invited. Things changed when I stopped doing what they wanted. When I quit pretending that everything was fine and started saying what I actually thought. When I stopped playing middleman between my parents and their fake family image. I became the one who made things tense. That was their favorite phrase. Tense! But Grandma was different. She never cared about any of that. She used to sneak money into my backpack when I was broke. Used to mail me handwritten letters when my mom wouldn't return my calls. She called me on my birthday every year, even after everyone else stopped. She once drove 3 hours just to see me for 20 minutes after I had surgery. She didn't raise me officially, but she raised me. So when I got that message, it felt like something got yanked out of my chest. I wasn't being told my grandmother died. I was being told I wasn't part of the family anymore. Not really. Not even enough to grieve. They didn't send me a location for the service. They didn't send a time. They didn't offer me a seat. Nothing. I found out the date and just sat with it. The day came. I stayed home. Didn't get dressed. Didn't light a candle. I just sat there in silence while they all wore black and pretended I didn't exist. No photos were posted. No mention online. It was like it happened in some vacuum where my name didn't belong. I checked the local paper. Nothing. Checked the funeral home websites. Nothing. No obituary, no notice. It didn't feel like a funeral. It felt like a cover-up. And I couldn't even call anyone to ask, because I already knew how it would go. "Don't make this about you." That line worked because they knew I couldn't prove anything. I stayed quiet. For a while. Grief is strange when you're not allowed to show it. You start questioning your own memories. Was I really that close to her? Did I exaggerate it in my head? Did I imagine the bond just because I needed someone to believe in me back then? I went through old birthday cards just to remind myself it was real. I found one where she wrote, "You always have a place with me." I stared at that line for an hour. I never got closure. No urn, no service, no goodbye. Just silence. And eventually, that silence turned into distance. I stopped calling anyone. I stopped answering texts. I blocked a few of them. The ones who knew but said nothing. I didn't send one dramatic message. I didn't announce it. I just stopped responding. I went no contact like I was stepping out of a burning room. People think estrangement happens after a big fight. Sometimes it happens in pieces. Sometimes someone hands you proof that they've already erased you, and the only thing left is to walk away before they erase more. Months passed. I deleted the last text I got from my mom. Not out of peace, but because I was sick of seeing it every time I searched for someone else. My grandma was gone. I accepted it. Not fully, but enough to keep moving. I didn't cry at night. I didn't collapse. I worked. I cleaned. I stayed busy. But everything I did felt unfinished. Like I was still waiting for something that wouldn't come. Every now and then I'd start typing her name into Google. just to double check, just to make sure I hadn't missed something official. Nothing ever came up. The worst part wasn't that they lied. It was that they acted like I deserved it. I wasn't planning on going back. Not for a visit. Not for closure. Definitely not to see them. I only went because someone else died. A former teacher. Unexpected. Sudden stroke. She was one of the few adults who didn't treat me like I was a problem when I was younger, so I went. Quiet, in and out, no catching up with anyone. After the service, I drove around town for a while. Mostly to kill time. Part curiosity, part habit. I passed my old high school, the corner store, the little park my parents used to force us to take holiday pictures in. Nothing had changed, except maybe the pavement. I turned down their street without thinking. The house looked the same. Same shutters. Same chipped mailbox. I slowed down, just for a second. And then I saw her. Sitting on the porch in a rocking chair. Small frame, gray hair pulled back. Big cardigan even though it was warm out. I knew it instantly. I'd seen that shape my whole life. I stopped the car like I'd hit something. Just braked in the middle of the street, staring. She looked up and waved. I pulled over. I didn't think. I didn't check mirrors. I just stopped, got out, and stood there like I was watching a ghost breathe. She smiled like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't been declared dead. Like I hadn't spent months thinking I'd missed her funeral. She waved again and said my name like she'd been expecting me. I walked up. My legs didn't work right. She stood to hug me and I let her. She smelled like the same soap she always used. Same soft, shaky hands. I didn't say what I was thinking. I didn't ask anything yet. I just asked how long she'd been there. She said she moved back in a few months ago after her fall. Said she'd been recovering slowly, couldn't be alone, so they brought her here. She didn't mention anything about a funeral. Didn't act confused. Didn't seem scared. I realized right then, she had no idea what I'd been told. She thought I'd just been busy. She didn't even know I stopped coming around. They didn't tell her anything. I asked if I could come inside. She said, of course. We sat in the living room. I looked around. Same furniture. Same curtains. Everything like it used to be, except more quiet. She offered me tea. I said sure, even though I didn't want it. I needed a minute to think. She talked about her recovery. About how bored she was. About her physical therapist, who made her laugh. She asked how I was doing. I lied and said I was fine. I looked at the doorway every few seconds. I knew they were going to walk in eventually. I was just waiting. 30 minutes later, the front door opened. My dad saw me first. His face dropped. My mom came in behind him and froze. No fake smile. No fake warmth. Just panic. She pulled me into the kitchen and told me I shouldn't be there. Said this wasn't the time. I asked what that meant. She said, "We didn't think you'd handle her condition well." My dad added, "We needed peace." That was it. Their explanation for telling me she was dead. For shutting me out. For letting me believe I'd lost her. They didn't want me around. Said it would have complicated things. Said they didn't want to deal with my reactions. That I make things about myself. I didn't say anything back. There was no version of a response that would fix that. They held a fake memorial. Told everyone else she was alive. Told me she was gone. They used her health as an excuse to cut me out. Because it was easier than dealing with the fact that I don't play along. That I don't smile when I'm supposed to. That I don't forget things they said just because they want to move on. I left without saying goodbye. Didn't want her to hear anything from the other room. Didn't want to ruin whatever peace she thought she had. I went back 2 weeks after I discovered the lie. This time I didn't wait. I drove straight to her house with a folder in my lap. In that folder were screenshots of the texts, call logs, and one email from my mother with the exact words. "Don't bother coming if you'll cause drama." I had printed every detail. I needed proof, and I knew they all had it too, except for me. When I arrived, my grandma was sitting outside on the front steps. The same woman who cared more for me than anyone else. She watched me from her chair, quiet. I pulled my car into the driveway and got out. I could see my parents through curtained windows, huddled together, probably expecting me to ignore their calls. They didn't. Instead, I walked up the porch and sat next to her without a word. She looked at me. I don't remember the exact expression, just that her eyes held more hurt than anger. I held out the folder. I flipped it open, letting her see every message. I showed her the text with the funeral details. I let her see that I had tried to reach out and got nothing back. I placed my phone on the table and scrolled through the call log. Every unanswered call, every message marked, read, without reply. For a long minute, she said nothing. Finally, she said that she never received any information about a funeral. She told me she had been living her life at home, unaware that my parents had organized a fake memorial for everyone else. She admitted that the reason they kept me away was not because I wasn't wanted, but because they thought I would stir up trouble. They needed to control how the family remembered her. I didn't ask why or how long they had planned it. I just listened. When my parents came home that afternoon, they pulled me aside in the kitchen. My father's tone was flat, no theatrics. He said they did what they thought was best to keep the peace, to prevent drama. My mother added that I always made things personal. I said nothing. I left the room with the folder still in hand. Over the next few days, I started noticing details that went beyond a simple lie about a funeral. I found that my parents had deleted several emails and texts on their phones when I wasn't around. I uncovered a voicemail from an extended family member explaining that a memorial had been held at a local hall, with no guest list and just a closed, secret meeting among family members. The accuracy and detail of that voicemail didn't match the casual way my parents had described things to me. While I was investigating, my grandma left a comment on one of her voice recorder sessions that I had set up secretly. I had asked her later, in a follow-up visit, to recount what happened that day. I pressed her again on why they never told her the truth. She said, bluntly, that she never understood why they turned family into an operation. Then she mentioned something I didn't expect, that my father had taken care of some bank transfers for her long before I even knew it was necessary. He'd been managing her finances in secret, and when she asked for help, he simply locked everything away in a trust account under their family name. I copied that statement down. The recording was rough, with long pauses, but it confirmed my suspicion. My parents had been controlling her legacy, her memory, everything, even after she fell ill. I realized they not only lied to keep me away, they also used her vulnerability to consolidate their own image. Late that evening, I posted all the evidence in our extended family group chat. I attached the folder scans, the call logs, and the voicemail transcript. I added no commentary. I simply let the facts speak for themselves. Within hours, responses poured in. Some relatives admitted they suspected something. Others claimed they had been told a sanitized version of events. A cousin from the city said he had seen a memo on social media about the private memorial that never reached me. One of my siblings posted a single sentence, "I always knew something was off," then deleted it. My parents began firing off emails, trying to explain. They said they did it to protect Grandma from the public eye, to keep the family stable. They demanded that I take down the evidence and drop the matter. I left every message unread. I didn't respond. I didn't try to explain. I just left the facts online. A few days later, my aunt contacted me privately. She said she had recorded a conversation with my mother during a family dinner some months ago, when the topic of Grandma's health came up. I arranged to meet her that afternoon at a neutral location. I listened as she played back a snippet of a conversation in which my mother admitted, flat and unembellished, that they had staged the news to keep me away. My aunt said she was shocked but wasn't sure what to do, knowing my parents always controlled the narrative in the family. That recording, combined with everything else, made the evidence undeniable. Extended family members started calling. My siblings denied any involvement, but the evidence painted a clear picture. The message was simple. They knew, but they kept quiet. 2 weeks after my public post, my parents attempted to organize a family meeting. They planned it for a Saturday afternoon, expecting all to join a Zoom call and talk this out. I declined. I told them that after the truth was out, I no longer trusted their narrative. I couldn't see them without remembering all the times they manipulated our family memory. Before that meeting, I received a message from Grandma. She said she would be visiting a legal office to update her will. She told me, no theatrics, just plain words, that I was her only true visitor, the one who cared enough to show up to see through the lies. She confirmed that no other relative received a visit in person that day. I didn't reply. I just let it happen. I went back to her place alone, and on my way out, I recorded a brief message on my phone. Not for posterity, just a note for myself. I was done with the poison in our family. I handed her a key to the second floor of her house, a space she could call her own. I set up a schedule so she could live independently while still being cared for. I arranged for a trusted caregiver to manage her affairs. I moved in temporarily to help her get organized, finalize her new will, and separate her finances from my parents' control. The fallout rippled through the family. My parents apologized. They said they only wanted peace. They offered vague reasons that amounted to nothing. Extended family members criticized the decisions. Some threatened legal action to claim a share of Grandma's money, while others outright supported me. None of it mattered. I was done trying to fix what they broke. I don't get revenge. I just expose the truth and move on. I keep every piece of evidence. I don't delete a message or remove a call log. They are mine now. Their attempts to rewrite history are over. I don't know if I acted right. I know I acted. I exposed the lie. My parents lost the ability to hide any longer. They can't control the narrative when everyone sees what really happened. Some say I went too far. Others think I should have let it go. I know what happened. You decide how it was handled. I exposed the lie. I took back my truth. What do you think?